Welcome to my channel Sella Buzz. Despite the Las Vegas Strip's glittering promise of wealth, there is a shadowy side to one storefront that no TV camera has ever been able to portray. The FBI agents who raided Harrison's sprawling Las Vegas mansion were unprepared for what they found hidden behind the walls of the seemingly normal millionaire's home. 25 bodies, carefully concealed secret rooms, housing evidence of crimes spanning decades, documents connecting the familiar face of reality television to organized crime syndicates and black market dealings. The man who taught America about historical artifacts was revealing history's darkest secret, and the world is still reeling from the revelation. Rick Harrison, the charismatic, knowledgeable businessman that viewers welcomed into their homes on a weekly basis through Pawn Stars, built an empire on authenticity and trust. Rick Harrison was born in Lexington, North Carolina, on March 22, 1965, far from the glamour of Las Vegas. His early years were marked by hardship, especially his struggle with childhood epilepsy, which kept him bedridden during severe episodes. Young Rick turned to books, developing a voracious appetite for knowledge that would later become his trademark. The pages of history books served as his escape and an ironic basis for a man whose own history would ultimately become a cautionary tale. The Harrison family moved to Las Vegas in 1981 in search of opportunities in the desert oasis, and by 1989, Rick and his father had founded Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, laying the foundation for what would become a historic enterprise. What started out as a small pawn shop gradually evolved into something extraordinary, particularly when television producers realized the entertainment value of the historical artifacts passing through their doors. In 2009, Rick Harrison became a household name synonymous with historical expertise and honest dealing when Pawn Stars premiered, enthralling viewers with his vast business acumen and the shop's seemingly genuine family dynamic. The petty shop became a tourist attraction, and Harrison grew his business to include selling books and making public appearances. He personified the American dream. The irony of this perception would not become clear until years later. Each episode featured Harrison elucidating the historical significance of items and frequently rejecting counterfeits with an expert eye. A self-taught individual who achieved success with perseverance, hard effort, and knowledge, Harrison's meticulously crafted facade began to show signs of weakness when financial investigators discovered anomalies in the pawn shop transactions. When trends showed that the lawful company might be a cover for illegal activity, what started out as a regular audit turned into something much more sinister. Potential financial crimes were the initial focus of the FBI's investigation. Illegal transactions involving tax evasion and money laundering. Agents weren't ready for the horror that awaited them beyond the mansion's elegant exterior. They had anticipated finding evidence of financial misconduct. When agents found the first hidden compartment behind what seemed to be a solid wall in Harrison's study, the investigation took a troubling turn. Inside the hidden space, investigators found meticulously organized records documenting connections to organized crime figures, black market transactions involving illegally obtained historical artifacts, and evidence connecting Harrison to an underground network of criminal activities. The raid on Harrison's home started like any other execution of a search warrant, methodical by the book. The materials exposed a startling reality. The store that had established its reputation on authenticity was trafficking in stolen history, but the tangible proof of financial crimes paled in comparison to what the agents found during their ongoing search. Many of the items featured on Pawn Stars had been obtained illegally, and their provenances had been falsified for television. Forensic investigators labored tirelessly to identify the victims, many of whom seemed to have connections to Harrison's covert activities. Some were rivals in the black market antiquities trade, while others had threatened to reveal elements of Harrison's operation. The first of what would eventually total 25 bodies were found in a hidden basement area that was only accessible by a complex mechanism disguised as an ordinary bookshelf. The methodical hiding implied a planned, long-term effort rather than acts of emotion. The guy who had established an empire based on historical knowledge had been painstakingly concealing his own troubled past. When the public learned of the revelations, they were shocked and incredulous at how the kind businessman who enthusiastically imparted historical knowledge could be linked to such horrible atrocities. One victim at a time. The television network immediately canceled Pawn Stars, distancing itself from Harrison and the tainted legacy of what had been their flagship program, Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Former fans struggled with cognitive dissonance as they reconciled the Rick Harrison they believed they knew with the emerging portrait of a cunning criminal. As foot traffic to nearby businesses plummeted, the once popular tourist destination turned into a macabre curiosity, with visitors taking pictures of the outside from across the street. The consequences of the incident went beyond Harrison himself to those closest to him, and Las Vegas tourism officials rushed to lessen the negative effects on the city's reputation. As authorities looked further, they discovered no evidence connecting his son Corey, who had made frequent appearances on the show, to his father's illegal actions, bolstering his claims of innocence. However, the younger Harrison became embroiled in the consequences, his reputation permanently connected to his father's conduct and the other known face of the shop. While investigators did not directly link Austin Chumley Russell to the most serious crimes, they did find evidence that suggested Russell might have been aware of certain financial irregularities. During the interview, Russell expressed shock, saying he had never suspected the dark currents flowing beneath the surface of the business. The amiable comedic relief of Pawn Stars was charged with a few minor offenses for failing to disclose suspicious activity. The disclosures devastated the Harrison family. In hindsight, Rick's ex-wife's accounts of domineering conduct and unexplained absences matched the chronology of disappearances currently ascribed to him. Family members talked of Harrison's apparent pathological compartmentalization, which allowed him to shift fluidly from his illegal activities to family get-togethers without displaying any symptoms of his inner darkness as the case proceeded to trial. Prosecutors gathered substantial evidence that connected Harrison to the killings and illegal activity. DNA evidence found in the secret rooms. An unbreakable case was made using bank data, showing illicit activities and associates' testimonies who had seen Harrison's darker side. The trial turned into a media spectacle as Harrison's former associates testified about his involvement in trafficking stolen artifacts, detailing how items that had featured prominently on Pawn Stars had been illegally obtained and their histories fabricated to make compelling television. Harrison's defense team tried to argue that their client had been set up by jealous competitors or organized crime figures looking for a fall guy, but the evidence proving his direct involvement was insurmountable. The testimony that hurt Harrison's case the most came from a former black market trader who described how Harrison had exploited his notoriety on television as the ideal pretext for his illegal business, leading people to believe that the man teaching America about history on TV was actually stealing it. The witness stated that his biggest strength was his public persona. When Harrison stood up for himself, his well-known poise broke down during cross-examination, and the prosecutors painstakingly shredded his denials by presenting him with evidence that refuted each of his innocence claims. The jury returned, with guilty verdicts on all counts, including several allegations of first-degree murder, racketeering, and trafficking in stolen items. After deliberating for only 6 hours, the court, imposing many life sentences without the chance of parole, highlighted the specific betrayal that was a part of Harrison's crimes. You established a reputation for knowledge, history, and trust in the public view while secretly defiling those same principles. Your deliberate deceit for years in the public light makes your crimes even more heinous. When Harrison was brought out of the courtroom, the empire he had created was in ruins. Following this, Las Vegas sought to disassociate itself from the Harrison legacy. Tourism officials eliminated all mentions of Pawn Stars from promotional materials. The abandoned shop building was eventually demolished to make way for new construction, and the pawn shop that had been a landmark was permanently closed, its inventory confiscated as evidence, and the television program that had made him famous became a footnote in true crime documentaries rather than a celebration of history and entrepreneurship. The victims' relatives eventually obtained information on their lost loved ones after the physical reminder of what had happened there was removed, but the closure came with the terrible realization of what had happened. People who were only related by the awful way their family members' lives had ended came together for memorial ceremonies. The Rick Harrison case pushes us to think about how easily we assign trust based on assumed knowledge and charisma. It serves as a disturbing reminder that looks may be deceiving and that the personalities we invite into our homes through our screens may contain depths we cannot comprehend. how totally we might be duped by somebody who are adept at lying. As investigators closed the case's final chapter, they considered the complexity of human nature and how one person could possess both the impressive knowledge Harrison displayed and the capacity for the calculated violence revealed in the investigation. The man who had made a career of authenticating historical artifacts had been the greatest forgery of all time. Remember that the face someone presents to the world may be just a mask. Rick Harrison's ultimate tragedy lies not only in the lives he took but also in the betrayal of public trust, as he convinced millions that he was a man worthy of admiration while building an empire on criminal enterprise and murder. The Rick Harrison case reminds us to look past charisma and celebrity, to remember that sometimes the most dangerous predators are those hiding in plain sight. The next time you invite someone into your home via your screen, keep in mind that what you see might only be what they want you to see. True character is revealed in the shadows in the decisions made when no one is watching.